Hi everyone and welcome back to my channel. I am very excited for today's video because we have a new palette from Nomad Cosmetics. So this is the Nomad Royal Europe palette. I am pre-filming this. I just got this in the mail and this video should be going up the morning that it is revealed, which is Saturday. But I just got this in the mail 20 minutes ago, grabbed it, put on a little bit of makeup and sat down to film. I am so excited. This is so pretty. The packaging, as soon as I opened it, I was like, whoa, the packaging is beautiful. And the color story is really beautiful. And all of the shimmers in this are multichromes. I am so excited to try these out and see how they perform. This is a beautiful color story. I just can't wait to use this. And if you're new here, welcome. My name is Colin. I am a non-binary Latinx scientist and lover of makeup with a definite soft spot for indie makeup and more high-end makeup. And I tend to take a pretty analytical approach to my reviews and my makeup collection as a whole, and I have new videos every week, so I'd love to have you subscribe. Okay, so I don't know exact pricing or anything for this yet. I do know that this video is going up on Saturday the 25th, because today is Thursday the 23rd, and that's when the reveal is, and then the launch is, I believe, Tuesday, which is often like Monday night. But I will have all of the information in the description box. This is one of their 15-pan palettes, so that generally retails for $30-something, but I don't know exactly. I'll put it on the screen if I find out before, and like I said, it'll all be in the description box. So obviously Nomad did send this to me in PR, and I'm very grateful that I get PR from Nomad. They are one of my favorite brands, and I do consider the owner a friend. Felicia is really sweet. We talk all the time. And I do have a code with Nomad. It's not affiliated. I don't earn any money, but the code BONES will save you 10% on anything you buy from Nomad. But I do want to state, I like to state that ahead of time because there is an implicit bias that I do already like the brand and I talk to the owner on a regular basis. But if I don't like the product, I will tell you so. There have been times where I didn't like certain shades or certain things didn't work for me, and I was honest about that. So I will be fully honest in this video. So this is gonna be a first impression, not a full review. I don't have time to do a full review before it launches, but I will use it today and maybe tomorrow and get a chance. I'm helping my mother-in-law move this weekend, so trying to get stuff ahead of time because I'm going to be busy and not at home all weekend. So this is a first impression, so I'm going to do swatches on my arm so you can see what it looks like on my skin tone if that is helpful for you, and against my olive undertone, which is also might be helpful for you. And then I'm going to do probably 3 looks, and that gives me a good first impression, first idea of how a bunch of the shades use or how a bunch of the shades work. But I will continue using this off camera, and then, you know, I'll come back later with a more full review or come back, check in later. But I am gonna try to do 3 looks today or tomorrow. We'll see. I'm gonna do 1 on each side to start and then maybe a 3rd. So this is the Royal, this is the Royal Europe palette. The box is really pretty. On the back of the actual box, it has a preview of the shades, and then there's always a description. So it came with a little postcard like normal. And this says it is a luxury, this says it is a luxurious jewel-hued shades formulated with extra fine pigments, infused with rosehip oil to help hydrate and condition the skin. So it's 10 opulent mattes and 5 ornate multichromes inspired by the spectacular grand palaces and crown jewels of Royal Europe. So I am very excited for this. As always, it is cruelty-free and vegan. It says to please recycle. And then every palette Nomad comes out with, they partner with a charity, and a portion of the proceeds of that palette go to that charity. And this one is a UNESCO World Heritage Center partner. So that is also nice. The actual palette though, when I slid it out of the box, is so pretty. They really outdid themselves. So I hope this will come across on camera, but it's very textured. So it's got blue, it's got like a ruby color, a blue, a teal, and a purple layered on top of each other in these jewels. So there's like a lot of texture. It's built up a little bit, and it's very 3D, very texturally pleasing, really pretty to look at. The back of the regular palette just has the normal Nomad information. And then when you open it up, you get a big mirror, really nice quality mirror like normal, and you get 15 shades, and I really like the way this one's sorted. So you've got columns. So you've got, each column is a different royal family or palace or country, and you've got the name of the palace at the top, a defining feature of that palace, and then the royal thing, like the royal crown or the royal orb or whatever, as the multichrome. I think it's laid out really well. So if you don't want to mix and match too much, you can just work in columns. You've got neutrals, teals, blues, purples, and kind of a pinky red tones. So I think when I swatch this in a minute, I'm going to swatch them in the columns so you can see those colors together. So I'm going to remove my watch. I don't put any primer down. For swatches, I don't really care. For swatches, I don't really care about the performance of the swatch. It's more to see the color and see what it's going to look like on my skin tone. Swatches don't really tell you how it's going to perform on the eye. So I do always like to give that little clarification. Okay, so I'm going to swatch on this arm like normal, and I'm just going to go down the things. So if you look here, it's kind of hard to hold. So if you look at the palette, like I said, there's a column for each one. So this is Austria. So there's the Neptune Fountain, the Imperial Crown, the palace in Austria, that's in Vienna. This is Poland, this is Versailles, so France, and this is Buckingham Palace, so England, and then this is Pina Palace, so that is Portugal. So sadly, I've only been to the one in France. I've not been to any of the other countries. I've been to Heathrow Airport multiple times, but I've never actually left the airport. And I've been close to Austria. I did work in Germany for a while, but never actually went to Austria. So I also really love that there's an imprint of the different crown jewels and stuff for each thing, and I hate ruining those, so I'm not going to press overly hard, but you know, they're going to get ruined as I use them. So the first one is the neutral column. So this is really nice. It's kind of a mustardy brown, and then Neptune Fountain looks just like a nice chocolate brown, and then Imperial Crown. These feel very soft like normal Nomad mattes, and this multichrome feels really nice. It feels very creamy. So got nice warm brown. Nice. I like that it's a charcoal. It works well with that, but it'll also blend well with the colorful shades. And then this is a really pretty green, yellow, gold multichrome. Really pretty. It feels really nice. Really smooth. Really high quality. It doesn't feel, so if you've used a lot of indie shadows, sometimes some of them are really, really emollient and kind of putty-like, and those tend to not work very well on oily eyelids. These don't feel putty. These feel creamy and smooth like a Divina multichrome, like the Aurora Flares or something like that, but it doesn't feel smooshy and emollient like a sugar drizzle or something like that. So I do want to give that textural context as we go. Okay, so next is the Poland one. So we've got a nice teal and another darker teal. Curious to see how those will work together. There's a definite difference, not like huge, but there's a difference between the two. And then Royal Orb, I said herb at first, is a really pretty, it's like one of those grass green, there's like some yellow to a grass green to like a teal to more of a blue kind of shift. So I'm very excited for these. And then the Versailles sections, we've got a nice pale blue, a Hall of Mirrors, another, that's just like pretty standard blue. And then the Bleu de France is really pretty. So this one looks like blue to purple. This one looks more like purple to magenta. But this one definitely has, okay, so this, the French one is blue to purple are the big shifts, but you can definitely see there's a bit of teal to the blue, like teal to royal blue to purple, and then there's a bit of like a pinkier tone when the light hits the purple. These are really nice mattes too. I mean, I like Nomad's mattes in general, but these feel especially nice. I really think they outdid themselves with this palette, and I haven't even put it on my eyes yet. But just the packaging and everything. Okay, and then we've got Buckingham Palace. Really beautiful purple. Ballroom. Really nice. It's like more of a red purple, more of a magenta versus more of a cool purple. It's more warm. And then St. Edward's Crown. I hate that I've ruined the imprints a little bit. This is definitely a purple-based multichrome, and you can see there's definitely these two colors in it, and then a little bit of like gold on the edges. That like warm orangey gold. Those are really nice. Really like these. And then the last the last column is the one for Portugal. So we've got kind of a red tone. It's kind of a wine, which I like. Great Hall has a little bit more depth to it. It's a little bit more like a blood red. And then Royal Treasure, this looks like a pinky red gold. This one's really intense. So if I hold it this way, I just see green, like really intense green and gold. But if I lean this way, I see really bright red and pink. So that has a very strong, really strong shift. That is a really beautiful wine color. And then there's that. Okay, these are really pretty. I am very excited. I'm torn on which ones to use today. I think maybe I'll do something with the more green tones on one eye and something with these tones on the other, because I do want to use this multichrome. And then for my third one that I'll wear like the rest of the day or something, I'll try out the neutrals. So I will be right back. I'm gonna go wash off my arm, but I am very excited to use these. Okay, so I am back and ready to try these out. If you're curious about the rest of my makeup, it'll be in the description box like normal. I just threw on a very light layer of the Haus Labs foundation in the middle of my face, little Kosas concealer, and then I have the Haus Labs bronzer and blush on like normal, and I have Fenty lip gloss on. This is pretty neutral, so I just wanted to grab it because it's not my favorite lip gloss, but I like it enough, so I want to actually, you know, like use it up instead of just going through my lip oils like crazy. This is one of the cream ones. I've not tried the regular gloss bomb. This is nice. It's just not, I don't know. Hype was like, I think overhyped. Okay, so I am just gonna grab some brushes. Okay, so I'm gonna try out the blues first, and I'm just picking up a rougher brush. So I'm starting with this one because it is, I mean, it's a little stained right now, even though I did just wash all my brushes. But this is an 01, and the reason I like it is it's fluffy but also flat, and especially for a colorful shade, it's not as big and fluffy as this, so I'm not gonna get as big of a wash. So I can really like pat the color where I want it and blend it. And I'm gonna start with the Palace of Versailles color. And I'm gonna tap off the brush like normal. And I'm going to put that right here. So pats on nicely, and it's blending out nicely too. You know, blue shades are never gonna like fully blend into your skin like they would if they were like a color that matches your skin tone, but the edges are diffusing nicely like a normal Nomad shadow. They're pretty soft and blendable. I think Nomad and Lethal are like good brands to try if you're new to colorful shadows. Also, they have been doing single shadows with all of their launches, so I will ask Felisa what shades are going to be singles or if there are, and I'll have that in the description box as well. But that is a really pretty blue. And I'm going to pick up a little bit of the teal from the Pollen shade right here and put that on the outer part of my crease. I want to see these two colors next to each other. So I'm going to put that right here, and this is really pigmented teal. Kind of like, I think it was in the Paradise Islands palette. There was a really, like, I was shocked at how smooth and pigmented it was. Not in like, I don't know, I just feel like teals are often a little bit, like, you have to build them up a little versus bam, pigment. I like to, because my eyes aren't fully hooded, but like if I like keep my head still, the back half of my eyelid is kind of covered. So I like to put the shadows a little bit up here so you can see them when my eyes open. So I'm just stamping it where I want it and using the fluffiness of this to blend the edges. And then I'm gonna pick up a smaller brush. This one's from Sigma. And I'm gonna pick up the King's Room shade. I wanna see how much darker it is than the Palace shade above it. I wanna see how much depth you can get from the two teals. Okay, so they do blend together really nicely. It is darker, but not like significantly darker. So just a heads up. I feel like there aren't any like super dark. These are all like light to a little darker than mid-tone. None of them are like crazy dark, but the multichromes all feel like a black-based multichrome, so they add some depth that way anyway too. I'm gonna take a little bit of Neptune's Fortune, the more charcoaly brown, and put it right here too. Just I wanna see how they, so that did add a bit of depth, which is nice. And if you're ever using a palette that doesn't have a lot of dark tones and you want that drama, you can always put a little bit of eyeliner, especially if you have one that's creamy and can blend a little bit, like the Pat McGrath one or the Haus Labs ones or the Urban Decay. You can always do like a little bit of a wing, like put a little bit there and then kind of smudge it, and that'll add that depth. And then just to use all of the mattes in this little area, I'm gonna pick up the Hall of Mirrors shade, and I'm gonna put that on my lower lash line. And I'm just gonna go full on color, full on blue tones. I mean, it is my favorite color, so. I'll try to do something more wearable with the neutrals as well, in case you don't wanna wear as much color. But these have all blended really nicely. I don't have any fallout, but I did tap off my brush. Now I want to see how this Bleu de France shade picks up on a brush. So this is my Refer 21, or one of them. My favorite brush for shimmers, because it's so flat and compact, it really picks up well, and I tend to not get shimmer fallout when I use it. So it picked up decently. And yeah, that worked really well with the brush, and no glitter glue either. I know some multichromes like this, you really need that glitter glue. So I'm doing kind of a more monochromatic look here. This would pair really nicely with the Buckingham Palace shade too. And I think this look would also look really nice with the Royal Orb shade. But because they're multichromes and you want to be able to see the shift, I tend to only use one multichrome at a time. I've seen people do videos where they do like 3 multichromes on their lid, but then you're not giving each shade enough space to actually show the shift, and they just kind of blur together. What gives a multichrome its shift is the shape of your eye and the light hitting it in different directions. So if you only put it over a tiny portion, you're not getting any of the effects. So what's the point of using a multichrome? It's really pretty. It's definitely brighter blue, at least, I don't know if this will show up on camera, but it's brighter blue to like a dark blue, and then there's a purple. So like if I turn my head this way, I'm seeing a lot of purple, and then like dark like navy, and then bright blue. Really like that. Because they're all multichromes, there's not really an inner corner shade. I mean, you can put a multichrome in your inner corner, but I will probably just use highlighter. Whatever I used on my face, which was also Haus Labs. Okay, so I'm gonna add a little bit of inner corner highlight and then throw some mascara on this eye, and then we'll move on to the other eye. So I'm just using my highlighter. This is the peachy one from Haus Labs. If I don't have a highlight shade in the palette, I like to just use whatever's on my face, so. Okay, so that is the first look done. Really like it. Really like it. Really easy to do too. Like, zero effort. Okay, so I'm gonna go into the other side. On this side, I'm gonna use some more synthetic brushes. I'm gonna at least use one Sigma brush because I know not everybody has natural hair brushes. So this isn't exactly the same shape, but it is similar. This is a detailed blending brush. So you can see it's kind of flat, kind of fluffy. It's a little bit smaller, but it's a lot smaller than their big blending brush. So I'm going to grab this. I think I'm gonna mostly stick with this last column. So I'm gonna put a little bit of the Peanut Palace. I'm gonna tap that off. I'm gonna put it right here. And you know I'm not really a fan of red eyeshadow on me, but this is enough wine colored that I think I will like it. And then whatever's excess I'm blending this way. It's really pretty. Yeah, this is enough of a wine color that I do like it. It's just something about, like, it's not really pink. There's like a little bit of a purple to it, which is why I like purple. I don't really like pink or red that much on my skin tone. But when you add that purple, it just works. That blended out really effortlessly. And I'm gonna take Great Hall next, which is the next shade in that. This more darker kind of blood color. I'm gonna pat that here and kind of make the shape that I want with that. That's really pretty. I love this kind of color. A little bit of a brown to it, a little darker, still kind of winey, but a little brown, a little more bricky. And they blend together is really nicely. Like where they're meeting right here, it looks really nice. I'm just patting a little bit more there and blending out, and it's blending really nicely with this too. I mean, I like Sigma brushes. I prefer the way natural hair brushes lay down and blend products, which is why I'm very intrigued by Angelique Nyquist's her new brand launch, because they're supposed to be synthetic brushes that really mimic natural hair. That, like, I don't think Sigma claims they mimic natural hair. They're just nice brushes. And this is a little bit like, this is colorful and wrapped around my eye. This is colorful without having, it's not as big, which I like this shape a lot. So I do this shape quite frequently. And I'll run a little bit under my lash line, just whatever's left on the brush I haven't dipped back in. And it kind of encompasses everything without being as much as this. That way you can see a couple different options. And then on this side, I'm gonna try some glitter glue and see how that works, because generally that can make the shadow more intense. Having a really tacky base like glitter glue tends to make shadows shinier, shiftier, all of that. So just tapping a little bit of that on, all over. And then using another Refer 21 brush, and you can just see how flat that is, especially like when a lot of people use a brush like this Sigma for shimmers. You can see just how much flatter and more dense this is. This has so much fluff, it's gonna kick up some product, which I just don't really enjoy for shimmers. Picks up very nicely. And let's tap that over my lid. So this is the Royal Treasure shade. This is the one that has like a very strong yellow-green shift from the pink-red, especially in the pan. Like I barely have to move. That was the first one that I was like, that's 100% multichrome. So I don't know how these are made. I don't know Nomad's manufacturing process, but I do know like with Divina and some of those other multichrome manufacturers, the shades are mixed in like a slurry and they're kind of wet and they're poured, and then the alcohol or whatever in them dries out and then they're pressable. And then Lethal Cosmetics, they make theirs like a standard pressed eyeshadow. So it's a slightly different texture. This feels kind of in the between. But generally things that aren't like, it's not handmade like a person pouring them in each thing. So I have a feeling it's more like a standard shadow, but I really don't know. If I find out, I will let you know. I'll put it on the screen or in the or comments or something. It's a really pretty color. It's pulling very pink. Like I'm mostly seeing like the pinky red tones, but if I turn my head, so if I turn this way and the light's hitting it this way, I see the green and the gold on my inner half of the lid. So I have a feeling, and if I look this way, you see that black base really strongly. This is one of my favorite things, is when you're out in the real world, like instead of direct light like this, like out in the real world walking around, you can really see those shifts. So I will, you know, wear these about and let you know, but really pretty. I definitely have a similar shade to both of these from like Divina, and I think a couple, something like this I have from Sigil Inspired, but I don't, having them in a palette like this with the mattes is so good. Yeah, if I, as I lean my head back, as I lean my head back and I let the light hit it, I'm seeing a lot more of the green gold. So it's very shifty, just depends on the light, of course. Okay, so I'm back and this is the finished first two looks. Just went ahead and added the same mascara. The other side, it's the one from Izumaya, the Wild Star, Lash Lasso, and add a little bit more lip gloss. I really, really love these. These are really pretty looks, in my opinion, but the shimmers are just so special. So mattes all performed very nicely, even maybe better than Nomad's normal formula. So I don't know if they're just making improvements or what, but these are great. So I will be back to try the neutrals in a little bit and let you know further thoughts. Okay, so I cleaned off my eyes because I realized I don't think I'm gonna have time to film tomorrow, but I will be able to edit and stuff. But you know, time to talk to the camera is not always possible. I do think it's funny that yesterday I was talking about how it's finally light out in the afternoons, and because of the time shift and because of the season change, so I can film in the afternoons without losing all of my light. And today it just started getting dark and gray and pouring while I cleaned off my eyes. I did the best I could without ruining all of my makeup, and I just put some more concealer and stuff on. So I look a little crazy, but that's fine. I don't care. This eye especially, it just looks a little off. But doesn't really matter. I'm just gonna put on one look and then, you know, cook dinner and stuff. So I'm gonna use the neutrals for one unified look, so that should actually be pretty easy too. So I'm starting with another Rougher One brush just because I really like this shape, and I'm picking up that first shade, the nice warm brown, tapping off the excess like normal, and I'm gonna tap that all over and just kind of blend that in. And I'm just dusting that all over my crease and a little bit on my lid. I'm gonna put a multi-chrome down, so I don't really care about the lid. I only really want mattes on the lid if I'm doing an iridescent shade. That's a really nice, just warm brown. And I'm just dusting it over this eye as well. And if you want more looks with this palette, let me know. I know my friend Nikki Raven got this in PR, and she generally does lots of looks because she also gets a little early since she's in Europe, and they want to make sure she has time to film, so she gets it sent a little before everyone else. So I would definitely check out her video, but I can always do more on mine or do a try to get ready with me or something. Okay, so that's a really pretty shade. I'm now just gonna grab a smaller brush and pick up that Neptune Fountain shade. Picks up very nicely. And I'm gonna put that right here and just kind of create a wing with that shape. Even if I'm not actually winging it out, it kind of elongates my eye by doing that. And that was one dip per eye. And then I'm just taking what's left and blending it into the other shade. And then going in with that first brush, and I'm just making sure everything's blended together. Just a neutral smoky eye, which, you know, is my default. So it looks good. I'm not too worried about what's on the lid just because it's gonna get covered with a multichrome, and I'm gonna try Imperial Crown. I really wanna see what that shade is like on the lid. So, okay, and then I'm just gonna take a little bit more glitter glue on my glitter glue brush. I like having a dedicated brush to glitter glue because it gets kind of goopy and gross. And I'm just taking a tiny bit and putting it over both lids. I feel like it started to rain and all the sirens and honking and everything started because people don't know how to drive. Okay, so I picked up Imperial Crown on a Rougher 21 again, and I'm just gonna put that over my lid. That is so pretty. Definitely like a spicy neutral with a twist because it's got that mostly yellow gold base, but it's also got a lot of green to it. And especially if you're like me, green is pretty neutral, especially on my skin tone and on my undertone. Green is pretty neutral. Like green on me is more neutral than pink. Like if you are a light skinned, like a fair-skinned white person with a pink undertone, a pinky tone like, you know, Charlotte Tilbury's Pillow Talk shades and stuff. Those are gonna be, you know, very neutral on you, but those look weird against my skin tone. So green and yellowy based things tend to look more neutral on an olive complexion and an olive undertone than a pink. I'm just adding a little bit more of the smoky shade. I just dipped once and I'm just going back and forth. That is beautiful. Okay, I'm gonna add a little mascara. Okay, so that is the finished third look. I wanted this to be a quick, easy, neutral look. And honestly, you could do a quick look with a lot of these. You could do these two neutrals and any of the multichromes really, especially these two, especially Imperial Crown and Royal Orb or the Royal Treasure shade. You could do a really quick neutral plus those, or you could do, you know, a pop of color and one of those. So I think there's a lot of possibilities with this palette. I really like the shade. This is an everyday kind of multi-chrome look for me. I know a lot of people are kind of intimidated to wear black-based multi-chromes all the time because they are a lot, but this is a way if you want to try wearing them on the daily or a more work-appropriate way, this is an easy way to do that. Pick more of a spicy neutral one. You know, kind of those bronzy ones, bronzy tones, green golds, and then pair them with neutral mattes. So I think it was very clever for them to include these shades in the palette. So I'm very happy with these. I'm very happy with this look. Very happy with all three looks. So like I said, this is a first impression. I will wear this and I'll probably wear something tomorrow while not filming, and I'll let you know in the description box or comments about like if they fade or anything. I doubt they will. I've never had that problem with Nomad shimmers or fallout. I know someone commented in a recent video that they get glitter fallout throughout the day when they use Nomad shimmers, but with glitter glue or without, I've never had that with really any like any brand at all. So I know when Sigma's shimmers, sometimes I'll have a bunch of fallout from putting them on, but not like throughout the day as I wear them. So that's just not something I've ever had to deal with. So yeah, I think that's just an eye shape, eye texture, all of that thing. That's never an issue I've had. But I am really excited for this palette to launch. I think this is really beautiful. I will keep using this. I'll keep letting you know. If you want another video with this, please let me know in the comments below. I think this is one of the best things they've ever done. So I will definitely have to do an updated Nomad ranking video at the end of the year, and we'll see where this fares, but I have a feeling it's gonna be pretty high. So let me know in the comments below what you think of the 3 looks, what you think of the palette. Are you gonna pick it up? As always, thank you so much for watching. Remember to like and subscribe, and I will see you in my next video.